resolves unclear, but I know.
Hi, I'm Angela, product growth marketer, somewhere between caffeine highs and retention lows. Welcome back to Anchor, where surviving the platform wars counts as innovation. Let's begin.
Moonlight bends, it bends like us, a fragile moment.
The hardest part of Substack is not the writing, it is finding readers when you have none. Atomic networks help you solve that by breaking your work into small pieces that spread faster and pull people back to your newsletter. Running a Substack is like running a startup. The newsletter itself becomes both your product and your market test. Network effects are simple in practice. The more people participate, the more valuable the whole system becomes. Everyone knows how social platforms work. The more users, the more interactions, the stickier the platform. No replies, no shares, no subscribers. For writers, the cold start isn't just technical, it feels personal. The audience isn't there yet, so the work floats away unseen. This problem isn't new. Every network in history has gone through the same pain. Marketplaces fail without buyers and sellers. Social apps stall when no one invites their friends. For Substack writers, network effects don't come from platform size. They come from reader density. 10 engaged readers matter more than 100 silent subscribers. With just one audience member, interactions feel isolated. When 10 people start engaging at the same time, they compare notes, start conversations, even argue. That cumulative interaction is where network effects really happen. The pattern is always the same. Anything that depends on connections struggles before those connections exist. Substack shows this in its rawest form because writing on its own doesn't guarantee distribution. Atomic networks give a way out. Instead of pouring all effort into one long essay, you break it down into smaller pieces that can move on their own. A chart on Twitter, a one-liner on LinkedIn, a quick snippet on Threads. These fragments travel farther than the essay itself, and each one points back to the source. Over time, the fragments link up, and what started as silence begins to pull people in. The Substack cold start. Every new writer hits the same wall. But Substack does offer native discovery. The platform includes writer-to-writer recommendations, a discovery feed in the app, and short-form sharing through notes. These levers still need a spark. Recommendations move when existing writers vouch for you or when readers start engaging, so a zero-connection account gets limited lift at the start. Early discovery still leans on external pull, which is why atomic units matter. 2. Why long essays fail to break silence. New writers often start by publishing long essays, hoping the work speaks for itself. The effort is real, but most of the time, the reach doesn't go beyond friends or a small circle. 7-minute reads are heavy to travel through weak connections. Without smaller hooks that can live on their own, the essay rarely reaches new audiences. Finding readers matters more than writing perfectly. 3. The logic of atomic networks. Atomic networks solve this by changing scale. Instead of treating a full essay as the only product, writers break it into fragments that can move independently. A chart, a single sentence, a statistic, or a quick question can circulate far more easily than the whole essay. Each fragment points back to the main piece, creating multiple entry points. The cold start becomes a series of small testable bets instead of waiting for one lucky breakthrough. 4. Building the first loops. The key to growth is loops. A chart shared on Twitter brings attention, which leads to clicks, which creates subscriptions. Subscriptions then become a base for future essays, which produce new atoms. Each loop sustains the next. Without loops, growth depends on luck. With loops, it compounds. 5. A working example. Take an essay on AI productivity tools. The full article might only reach a handful of people. Split into atoms, the effect looks different. A market adoption graph on Twitter sparks retweets. A punchy takeaway on LinkedIn triggers discussion. A 30-second Reels on Instagram intrigues someone new. Each fragment funnels readers back to the Substack, building the first core audience. The essay itself may stay modest in reach, but the atoms amplify it. 6 signals and iteration. Atoms are not only distribution devices, they are instruments of feedback. Some will resonate, others will disappear. A chart that spreads signals interest in data-driven framing. A sentence that travels signals appetite for sharp commentary. A clip that syncs signals poor relevance. Writers adjust future content based on these signals. The cold start becomes a sequence of structured experiments that reduce guesswork and increase leverage. 7. Designing for survival. Cold start on Substack is not a one-time hurdle, it defines early strategy. Writers who ignore it risk burnout. Writers who treat it as a design problem can build self-sustaining systems. Atomic networks let fragments travel, loops form, and feedback guide the next step. Writing still takes work, but each word carries more impact. Getting traction happens when you create loops and test constantly while hope just tags along. Closing thought. Cold start works like a design problem, not a lottery. Each atom is a small experiment that spreads risk across channels. Instead of betting everything on a single essay, you test multiple fragments at once. A chart on Twitter, a punchy sentence on LinkedIn, a visual snippet on Threads. Each fragment reveals how people respond and what sticks. Some succeed, some fail, and every outcome generates feedback. By the time these atoms reconnect to your Substack, you've turned trial and error into a structured loop. You're not just surviving cold start, you're building a system that learns, adapts, and grows with every move. Still alive in market and your self-doubt? Cool, most great products start right there. If you survive this dispatch without mental breaks, Anchor sends caffeine. Recommend this colony log to your fellow survivors.